All right, let's jump right into this explainer. Today, we're tearing down the actual mechanics of focus. Specifically, we're diving deep into Principle 2 from Scott H. Young's framework, which he calls Focus, Sharpen Your Knife. Look, if you've ever found yourself just staring blankly at a page or suddenly doom scrolling on your phone when you're supposed to be tackling a massive project, you are in exactly the right place.
We're pulling this straight from Scott H. Young's incredible book, Ultralearning. And honestly, the biggest takeaway here is such a massive relief. Extreme focus, it is not some rare genetic gift reserved for solitary, eccentric geniuses. No way. It's a highly trainable, highly mechanical process. We always picture these great minds working away in perfectly quiet, pristine laboratories, completely free from the real world. But real, functional focus doesn't require a perfect world. It just requires the right toolkit.
Get a load of this incredible quote from the legendary mathematician Leonhard Euler. When he literally lost sight in his right eye, his immediate reaction was simply, "Now I will have less distraction." Just amazing. And it totally echoes the story of the 18th century mathematician Mary Somerville. She was born into a society that absolutely disapproved of women pursuing higher education. Her family fought it, her husband actively opposed it, and she was constantly bogged down by household duties. Yet, she achieved such profound mastery that a leading French mathematician of the time said there weren't even 20 men in all of France who could understand her book.
So that begs the big question for all of us today: how on earth do you master hard skills in a world of constant distraction? Think about it. If Mary Somerville could pull off groundbreaking mathematics without ideal conditions, with active societal pushback and endless interruptions, it absolutely proves we don't need a perfectly zen environment to build our mental stamina today. We just need to understand exactly where our focus is breaking down.
Every study session or deep work block actually breaks down into 3 distinct chronological hurdles. First, failing to start. Second, failing to sustain your focus. And third, failing to optimize your arousal. We're going to systematically solve every single one of them.
All right, hurdle number 1, simply failing to start.
We all know the word procrastination, right? But look at what it actually is at its core. It's an unconscious craving to avoid discomfort, or just a stronger urge to do literally anything else. We are so good at masking this. We tell ourselves, "Oh, I'm just taking a much-needed break," or "I just need to clear my inbox first so I can really truly focus." Recognizing that procrastination is really just your brain's unconscious cover-up for the discomfort of hard mental work is your very first step to beating it. Heck, even the author of our source material admitted he procrastinated on writing the actual chapter about focus. It happens to all of us.
So, to beat this, we're going to use some progressive mental crutches to trick your brain into starting. Step 1 is the 5-minute rule. Just tell yourself you only have to endure 5 minutes of maximum unpleasantness. That's it. Almost anyone can endure 5 minutes of anything. Usually the dread just evaporates a few minutes in, and you end up keeping going. Now, if you master that, but you're still struggling, scale up to Step 2, the Pomodoro technique. That's 25-minute blocks of laser focus followed by a 5-minute break. Eventually, you're going to advance to Step 3, which is rigid calendar blocking, where you actually carve out specific hours of your day in advance.
Moving on to problem number 2, sustaining that focus once you've actually started.
So you've started, great. The very next hurdle is keeping your mind in the zone without giving up. We constantly chase this mythical concept of flow. It's that highly enjoyable sweet spot sliding right between boredom and frustration where you completely lose track of time. You're just in the zone. But listen closely to this. While achieving a flow state is awesome, ultra-learning and mastering hard skills usually requires pushing through intense frustration and doing deliberate practice, and that is not always comfortable. So please, don't feel guilty if flow doesn't just magically happen. Sometimes effective learning is just going to be a bit of a grind.
To keep your focus locked in when things get tough, you have to conquer 2 distinct enemies. First, environmental distractions. You've got to conquer your physical space, turn off the devices, shut down the internet, clear the desk. But the second one, and people miss this all the time, is task distraction. Certain tasks practically beg your mind to wander. Have you ever experienced reading hypnosis? That's where your eyes are moving over the page, but your mind is literally miles away planning dinner. You conquer task distraction by swapping out passive reading for active, interactive problem solving. Take notes by hand, explain the concepts out loud to an empty room, make the task too active for your brain to even have the chance to wander.
Okay, let's hit problem number 3, optimizing arousal.
This is honestly the sneakiest problem in learning.
failing to create the right kind of focus. Because believe it or not, all concentration is not identical. Let's define arousal here. It's your overall feeling of energy or alertness, driven entirely by your sympathetic nervous system. We're talking heart rate, blood pressure, whether you feel jittery or deeply relaxed. This physical and mental state directly dictates your attention span. That means your body's energy levels have to perfectly match the complexity of the task you're attempting, or your focus is just going to shatter.
Psychology maps this out brilliantly with something called the Yerkes-Dodson law. Basically, if you're doing a relatively simple task, say shooting a basketball or doing basic data entry, you actually benefit from high arousal. A noisy cafe, high energy, maybe downing a huge cup of coffee. Your focus becomes super narrow and intense. But conversely, if you're tackling a complex task, like solving advanced math or writing a really dense essay, you absolutely need low arousal. You need a quiet, totally relaxed environment. Why? Because complex tasks require a diffuse, broad focus to let your brain connect different ideas. Being highly caffeinated and jittery makes your focus way too brittle to solve a complex math problem. You literally have to match your internal energy to the complexity of your task.
So, how do we actually go about training this focus muscle?
We know how to start, how to sustain, and how to optimize. Now, to pull all of these mechanical strategies together into a daily habit, you've got to treat focus like going to the gym, just like the great Mary Somerville did. First, recognize exactly where you're at right now without beating yourself up. Second, start ridiculously small. If you can honestly only sit still for 30 seconds before grabbing your phone, fine, start with 30 seconds. Half a minute becomes a minute, 1 minute becomes 2. Third, consistently resist that impulse to distract yourself. It's going to be annoying at first, but finally, over time, you will actually transmute that initial frustration into genuine, deep interest.
I'm going to leave you with this final, provocative thought to take into your day. Look really closely at your own learning habits. What is your biggest focus bottleneck right now? Is it the sheer dread of just starting? Is it your inability to sustain attention once you're going? Or are you failing to optimize your arousal for the specific complexity of your task? Identify exactly where your study sessions are breaking down, apply these mechanical tools we've talked about, and go sharpen your knife. You've got the map, now it's time to do the work.